Righty.
We're all set over here as soon as you guys are ready.
I think after all that talk, we are ready.
Okay, I'll play the bumper music and we'll get started.
Sounds good.
Stand by.
And welcome back. It is the WXCO Morning Report, part of Mornings with Pat Kreitlow on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app with Ian Welsh. Ian, good morning.
Good morning, Chad.
We will, of course, have more with you as we continue along the pathway here today. But also, it's the first week of the month. And as I like to say, it's time to pay the rent, and it's time to talk to Christine Daniels from the Good News Project. Christine, always good to see you.
Good morning, sunshine. That's how I greet my children in the morning. Good morning, sunshine.
And do they still appreciate it? Or
They do.
Okay,
They do.
Fantastic. It's always good to talk to you and talk about what's going on at the Good News Project and a whole bunch more. And I was just saying before we went on the air, this week we've been very fortunate. On Monday, had a chance to talk to a young lady who is in Athens doing a back-to-school drive to get
awesome
new notebooks and other things for needy folks in Marathon County. On Tuesday, talked about a special scholarship at Wausau East for a fallen comrade who was a student and a staff member who passed away from cancer last year, and a former colleague and coach of hers starting a scholarship where there's been a lot of great response. And you do it every day with the Good News Project. And of course, we always say, be the good.
Be the good.
And the thing about it is we've talked a lot about what you're doing and a lot of the challenges that you've had and everything else. We haven't really delved into the folks that are also there that are doing the good, being the good.
Yeah.
And you got a few people I think that I wanted to find out, because I frankly, I don't really know a lot about some of the folks that are working with you. How big of a staff do you have at Good News Project?
Yeah, so we have 4 full-time people and 5 part-timers. And that has grown significantly in the last 3 years. Before our capital campaign, we had 3 full-timers.
A lot of work.
A lot of work. Yeah, we really have had to bulk up our staff. But there's been a lot of wonderful things that have happened in doing so. You bring a lot of talent and knowledge to the table when you add more people.
And you gave me a little information, and there's a mixture of those who've been with you at your side for a long time and the others who've been there a shorter amount of time, but all bringing a lot of great pieces to the table, a lot of skills to the table. And the first one that you kind of listed was a long time person. And I imagine that in a job like yours, where there's probably a lot every day you walk in, and on that desk there's a lot you have to deal with, a lot on the plate.
Yes.
To have somebody that's been around and knows the lay of the land. And Tony Schmidt was somebody you said. Can you tell us a little bit about her?
Tony is my right-hand woman. I've known Tony for over a couple decades now, and she actually started with Good News Project as a board member. So we kind of tease about this because that means she was my boss first. When we got to a point where we were starting our help program, we needed to hire someone to manage it, and she decided that'd be something really, really interesting for her. So right around the time she was retiring from us owning a small business, Tony's Salon and Spa, which was a very successful business.
I even heard of that.
You remember that?
Yeah,
it was in an old house downtown Wausau, kind of right now where the YMCA parking lot is. Okay. So it was ultimately removed, but she brought and continues to bring these skills to the table of, running a small business and all of the moving parts. And, she had staff members and managed customers, all of that. So yeah, she's phenomenal. She's also a very good friend. She has become a very good friend through all of these years.
It must be just, again, priceless to have somebody that has a sense of what you do as well.
Oh,
I mean, because sometimes you bring people in and they have to go through the ranks and have to learn every level, but to have somebody that actually has a understanding of some of the challenges that you have to face on a daily, monthly, yearly basis.
Yeah. So our co-founder, Peggy McCarthy, recruited her because Peggy used to sit in Tony's salon chair. And that's how it all starts. That's how they always
It
start,
always
isn't it?
starts
Just
that
a little
way.
conversation. And she's like, oh, you should join us. Oh, we need a board member. You'd be good. That kind of thing. And then, when she but right around the time that she was finishing her board membership and becoming an employee, she dipped into becoming a trip leader in St. Lucia under the tutelage of Peg and Chuck McCarthy. So she learned from the best. And so she has a really interesting viewpoint of all of our programming. Although she manages the help program, she knows international. She knows the people, the players, what we do and why we do it, and how to manage volunteers in a country thousands of miles away. And she also has been integral in our e-cycle program, just bringing, the right questions to the table. Like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And her husband has volunteered significantly for our e-cycle program throughout the last 15-ish years. So
volunteer is a word there as well, because another person that you've kind of highlighted here for me to think about and we can talk about is Eric Nielsen. Started as a volunteer, and I imagine that a lot of the folks that have worked for you in your tenure at Good News, that's where many of them probably start.
That's how a lot of people come to us. They start as volunteers. We get to understand who they are, what their motivations are, what their skills are, and then it becomes kind of a natural stepping stone into employment. So we have quite a few people that that's how they are with us as employees right now. Eric, so he started as a volunteer, and then during COVID, we had a part-time, no, he was a full-time, stepped in to do e-cycling, basic management. And then when he had to leave, he said, I think you need to consider Eric Nielsen. And so we put the job out there, and I specifically asked Eric to apply, and he went through the interview process, and he embraced the program. Our warehouse is the neatest it's ever been. He's organized, he's efficient, he thinks of all of the details, he does a tremendous amount of research, and his volunteers love picking on him.
real quickly about something about I imagine with everybody that's part of your crew at Good News, it is believing in the mission. I found it within my realm of the world in terms of when I've had new teammates that have come in and come here. I've always found that the ones that really step up and do the job the best are those that believe in the mission. It's not just about a paycheck. It's not just about thinking that, well, maybe I could fit in this way. No, there's a true belief in it. And I imagine that's vital, isn't it?
It really is. And I've mentioned this before, but when we have a staff meeting, we start with gratitude and what we're grateful for. This week, most of our gratitude surrounded one of our employees who came back after not being with us since mid-March. So just celebrating her return has been wonderful. And also, talking about the mission piece, I was on vacation a week ago, and we have a group text for our Good News people. And, people are still reporting things. Eric will give his final e-cycle poundage for the week, and everyone gets to celebrate that, and just different things get exchanged. But while I was gone, I read this wonderful text, and it was Eric pointing out two other staff members who were in the help program that day, Jacqueline and Adrian, and how at the very end of the day, we close at 4:00. A couple people came into our help program with big needs, and he just wanted to shout out to how compassionately they listened and they fulfilled those needs, and he said, that's why we're here. This is our mission. And then everyone just responds and highlights, like, that's awesome, and we're so proud of you. And I feel like it's a really great way to solidify a team and make everyone work together.
Again, we're talking to Christine Daniels, the executive director of the Good News Project here on 98.9 WXCO. Somebody who had come in here with you one time was Ruling Gartner.
Yes.
And you have her as somebody, again, that really deserves, I think, a shout out in terms of what she does for you.
For sure. Rolene is our volunteer coordinator, and we were able to hire her. So originally she was a volunteer with us.
There you go.
Yeah, for maybe half of a year or so. And then we wrote a grant to the Impact 100, and part of that was securing a volunteer coordinator to help us. And we hired her, and she has made our organization blossom in so many ways. And most of it's because of the volunteer care that she, creates. And previous to her, we all were managing volunteers in our own programs, or, I was managing some office volunteers, and Tony was managing her help program. And this way it's centralized, and she can, create little open houses and ways to connect with volunteers, highlighting them, creating a program where you volunteer a certain amount of hours, and that translates to dollars for merchandise, like Good News Project logoed stuff. So yeah, she's done a tremendous job. And, her background is being an executive director of a nonprofit. So she knows what's going on.
Incredible knowledge to be able to have. Just I can't imagine then again that the amount of help that somebody that, hey, I tell you, the idea is that sometimes I'll get an idea from something. Oh, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that. I imagine that it's like, hey, you probably say, I didn't think of that,
all the time. Yeah. And I really love bouncing ideas off of her, and she helps kind of keep me on target with certain things. She'll be like, hey, we had talked about this, where's this at? And I feel like we work really well together.
Another lady involved, Jacqueline Denke. Tell us a little bit about her and what
Jacqueline
she does.
is fabulous. She came to us as Tony was hired to grow the help program. She did just that to the point to where she needed help. And so we opened up an assistant position for help. I think it was right around 2021. And Jacqueline has filled this position. She has been a CNA in the past. She has worked in manufacturing. She runs a dairy farm. She's a hard worker, and she knows all of the things. So, if Tony's not available, you go to Jacqueline, and she can basically answer the questions. So
a guy that you've talked about a lot, I think, in our discussions, Al. You keep talking about Al all the time. You talked about Al, I think, a handful of times in the past year.
Al is a favorite. So Al also came to us through volunteering. Yeah. He was doing fix-it things and alongside of one of his really good friends. And, he knew we were beginning this program. It was toward the end of our last strategic plan. And this has been a goal of Tony's forever to have a mobile help truck. Yeah. And so Al applied for the position, and he's been working with us ever since on a part-time basis. But Al's history is so interesting. Like, he has worked for a couple local manufacturing groups and has helped grow their businesses from like 350 employees to over 1,000 employees. And, he's helped manage ways to cut costs and assess, different processes. And so this is yet another situation where, I'm the boss, and yet I am learning from Al. Al, came to me and said, I think these are some skill sets that I could share with you. And I'm like, yeah, teach me. And it's really exciting. Just to kind of have that flip-flop and to continue to talk about, okay, like, we realize this isn't part of a normal employment structure in terms of, quote unquote, who's in charge or something. But I feel like as long as you keep the open communication and the ideal that you're going to learn from the other person, it's fine, right? Like, we have all of these pre-established ways of looking at business and running a business and being a good human. And, not all of them are great.
Well, what's the old adage that you really get the most done if nobody cares who gets the credit?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. It's so true.
And you got a few folks that are either interns or just folks that are there to help. But boy, the impact is probably greater than you can imagine for people that just come in and fill some gaps and do some really good work.
Yes, for sure. So we have Sheila and we have Adrian and we have Megan, and they all work part-time. But if we didn't have these 3 people, there would be a significant hole in our operation. So it's very important to, to point them out in the work that they do. They're helping with our health equipment lending program, customer service, and they're the ones speaking with customers who need things. They're asking, what do you need? Have you thought about toileting? Have you thought about mobility? How much do you weigh? All of that stuff that helps us fit equipment to people. And I think I told you before that Adrian and Megan are my comic relief. Like even this morning, Adrian's like, I can't log in. I guess it must be a sign I shouldn't be at work today. And like, but Adrian, you did this yesterday too. we got you logged in ultimately, but she's a hoot.
I mean, again, it's just wonderful to hear about people that are positive influences. It can be within a company, a corporation, within a group like Good News. It's just wonderful to hear. Again, we hear so much about those who are, I think, pushing back in the wrong direction, but there's still a lot of people that are grabbing hands and pulling forward in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like we're all very aware of one another's just, I don't know, like where we're at, like yesterday, one of the employees came in and said, "You seem off to me. Are you okay?" And just that someone paused enough to see that maybe there was something on my face, or maybe there was a certain way I was acting or responding, and I got a hug out of it. And I was just like, I needed that. I appreciated that because someone paid attention. And I love that. Everyone's aware. And it's not just our employees. Our volunteers are very much aware too. And we treat one another as equals in all circumstances. And it works best that way.
Certainly does. I guess before we wrap it up, anything else that's happening that we should know about?
What else is happening?
Obviously, you got the recycling on Fridays, the e-cycles on Fridays, which is so vitally important. Anything else that we should know about, or are we just going to wait till next month?
We're going to have to wait until my next press release, actually, which will probably go out.
No previews, huh?
No. And then I can come on and talk about it.
I always want these exclusives.
Okay, all right. I'll give you an exclusive. We officially finished our capital campaign.
Yeah,
I know. 5 years.
That must be an incredible feeling. I mean,
it is. It is. It's this huge weight. And not only did we meet our goal, we smashed it. People gave above and beyond, and I'm
wonderful?
So grateful.
Well, we're going to delve into that probably very soon.
All right, that sounds good.
That'd be fantastic. So wonderful way to end. Christine Daniels joins us the first week of every month. And again, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Thank you.
We're going to take a time out and be back with more here on 98.9 WXCO.
And we're clear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.